Macam mana orang yang baik macam ni sekolah agama boleh tergelincir?
Dia started boleh tergelincir tu apabila kita tinggal solat.
So we are responsible for that at the end of the day. Okay, so that is part of being human. Responsible for justice, responsible for love, responsible to
correct. Ada joke ini minta maaf kalau macam meninggi diri sikit. Ada joke. Dia kata joke pasal orang Jawa. Dia kata orang Jawa yang pandai buat kunci, Lokman. Orang Jawa yang pandai main golf, Palma. Orang Jawa yang popular bulan ni, Nadilo.
Kita ada program.
People, there are a lot of different types of believers, right? There are different types of Muslims or different types of Christians.
That is the first time we realize what we have missed by being in their community.
And from a Malaysian context, I think stereotyping happens a lot from a race perspective, and of course, as what Eddie is saying, it is also now going to be a class issue very well.
All right, suicide and mental health issues during pandemic and how can we help? With me, Assistant Professor Dr. HANIZA RAIS from Kulliyyah of Education IIUM. Welcome on board. Apa khabar, Prof?
Alhamdulillah, terima kasih. Thanks for inviting me.
Okay, today, before we start, I'd like to thank Prof and especially Prof for for sudi untuk come on to my show. And for those who are watching during this live show or after the show, thank you very much. You basically can put on your question in the comments box, and I'll try to ask the speaker as we progress. Okay, this is supposed to be a santai. We will try to the bus is supposed to be rojak between BM and English, so I want people to be relaxed. That's my style. Okay. And myself, my name is basically Sahrul, but people call me Boon. Some people say Boon. Boon is basically my nickname in school, so I call it a Boon Talk Show. And Boon also brings a good meaning. So Boon Talk Show. So that's why I name it as Boon Talk Show. All right, we go on to our first question, Prof. So suicide rate has stood worryingly at 468 cases. If you read a recent newspaper. From January to May 2021, I think we got 468 cases as compared to the whole of last year. It was 631. So during the first 5 months, kita ada 468. It's like it's almost close to the whole of last year. And so the three main causes cited, by probably police, is family problems, emotional pressures, and also financial problem. So from your experience and your, so I did not intertwine or I did not relate it. So how did this pandemic can really drive people mad or suicidal? Over to you, Prof.
Okay, thanks, Sahrul. I think a very heavy question to start with. When we're okay, maybe before we get to the suicide part, the most important thing when we talk, let's just let's introduce just on mental health. Okay, when we talk about suicide, it's already the consequence of things, or it's always the result of something. So there must be something prior to it that end with someone's taken their own life. And before we talk about that, I'm a counselor who always want to go for positive psychology, what some people call it, but it's more on preventive measure. So it's very important for me to promote something to prevent things from happening. So maybe it's very important for me to use this platform to educate people first about mental health. how important it is before you get to suicide part. I hope you don't mind if I say this.
It's
when we
okay.
talk-
Yeah. Okay. Actually, the bottom line of this talk is basically how to educate the public. You know, how the public, the community, or as individual, how we can help. It's just that the statement I want to just to make people stand on your feet and okay.
And actually, I don't blame you. It is quite the number, you know, when you talk about the statistics, you know, it is more obvious when it appears in the newspapers, you know, it's becoming public, you know, in public conversation right now about people, you know, committing suicide, or it looks like it's more people committed suicide more than ever. Okay, maybe because of the social media and all that, as compared to 10 years ago, it is more, suicide is more on the private matters. All right, so coming back to mental health, I think maybe I can just briefly say that the word mental health, although there's the term mental in front, it's not just about mental. It's sebab kita selalu dengar orang kata mental lah budak ni kan. Bila it is always negative thing. So when people ini mental lah, dia sebenarnya cakap tentang sesuatu yang negatif. Sebenarnya mental health is sangat positif. And I want to begin with the word self-care. And we're going to end with the word self-care later. Okay? That is very important, that if you, for all of us, you know, we cannot deny that life can be challenging. There are so many challenges in life, especially now during the pandemic. The pandemic has created more issues, you know, crises in life, affecting all kinds of people, affecting the smallest kids to the, you know, the elderly. Everybody has their own concern and worries. So when mental health is concerned, it's about not just mental health, like I said. When we talk, when we are in the pandemic, we know that everything else is coming, pressuring us to react or to respond to things. So it's not just about mental; it is about physical things. How you, you know, keep yourself fit to face the crisis that can come at any time, because it's very uncertain. Okay, the physical part. Our emotion can be up and down. You know how uncertain it can be in life. The same thing with our emotion. We can, at times, we are so happy to be home. To be staying home is fine, but after some time you feel that it's not you and you want to go out. So your emotion can be mixed. Kejap suka, kejap tak suka. You know, kita ada love hate relationship staying home ni sebenarnya. So that is another one aspect of us that will make sure our mental health is apa kata orang tu, dapat dijaga dengan baik. Socially, we are social being that only socialize with people online, and that is not our nature before, and that creates so many things that in between that become can interfere with the way we communicate with others, the way we deal with things when it comes to other people, and all this struggle that we have really intertwined with one another, that sometimes it's not bad, it's not apa tu orang tu tak boleh nak di not everyone can respond to it dengan secara effective.
Right. Okay. I got your point. I mean, the leading suicide is basically the output of so many causes that leading to that. I mean, it's really more than 3 causes lah. I mean, that's basically just that it's alarming that people should stop and think, oh, this is something serious. Walaupun mungkin dah increase 468, but the factors leading to it banyak, terlalu banyak. We should take part on that lah. Is that okay? Satu. Okay, I think that, okay, we can go deeper on that thing. So that's probably the question that we will answer as we progress. Okay, the problem now, I think you might. Oh, sorry, I didn't really properly introduce you. Prof. Haniza is basically the one who was helping during the MH370, MH317. There's the couples there, the flood relief. So she into so many humanitarian crises, helping people. Right. I know you basically familiar dengan Befrienders and Talent Kasih. This is basically the two. Talent Kasih basically from the government side. Befrienders, I think it's an NGO, is it? It's an NGO lah. It's a private entity. So we also have read in the newspaper the distress call increase. So from January, so now the 20,000, the whole last year 30,000, 32,000. So what worrying me, so do you not involve in any form to help them to, you know, macam you tolong MH370 in any form, befrienders or talent kasih?
When we had MCO for the first time around, I was one of the volunteer for talent kasih. So I think I will have to be fair with talent kasih because at that time that's the only source that, you know, the public can turn to, you know. But again, when we receive calls from people, and these are the people who actually have been keeping this for a long time. Dia dah macam dah lama disimpan tau. So bila dia contact kita, dia telefon online tu, dia memang burst ataupun dia akan memang dah ready dah nak pouring things, you know, sharing things, and very often yang talian kasih ni case dia dah macam agak berat, and for one phone call we cannot we really have to be really be prepared what we want to give them, because they are anonymous, and very often we encourage them to call back, and we introduce ourselves so that they can call us back. So you know about working online, the risiko kita sebagai sebenarnya kaunseling ni dia banyak dah ethical guide code dia punya ethical responsibility when talking, when helping secara semuka pun ada ethical code ini kan pula online kan. Sebab whatever we say when we are online is very important, because someone yang on the other line tu tengah dalam crisis. So it's very important that maybe this is the opportunity for me to tell those people who wishes to, you know, make a phone call to talian kasih or befrienders, cari dulu sources ataupun resources around you can help you, you know, who are physically close to you. Then kalau because I know not everyone can be helpful to you, but there will always be someone who can support you around you. So instead of calling, because sometimes they call berkata, I have to talk pelan-pelan ni sebabnya suami saya kat sebelah, bilik sebelah. So very often dah tahap yang sangat kata orang tu kalau critical, macam dah terdesak. Jadi it is helpful. I'm not saying it's not helpful, but we can always do better with price. We have to make sure that orang yang menerima call tu, I think my friend who yang sukarelawan talian kasih ni akan buat benda yang sama lah. Kita akan pastikan sebelum dia letak telefon tu, kita bantu dia, bagi dia skill yang dia sepatutnya, yang boleh membantu dia dalam keadaan kepayahan tu, dalam keadaan sukar tu. Kita juga pastikan dia akan lakukan sesuatu selepas dia letak phone tu, dia akan turn to someone to get help, especially someone closer. Dan the fact that kalau dia ada, katakanlah dia nak ada intention nak bunuh diri ke ataupun nak mencederakan diri, kita pastikan dia selamat. So dalam kaunseling ni kita ada term kita panggil safety plan. Tapi bila buat dalam online ni, safety plan ni kita kena buat sangat berhati-hati, dan dia memerlukan klien ataupun orang yang menelpon tu mendengar apa yang kena lakukan supaya dia selamat. Sebagai kaunselor, kita nak orang yang call tu akan mengambil langkah supaya diri dia selamat dan tidak mencederakan diri. So it is very important. Macam saya kata, talian kasih tu membantu. Sebabnya some people just, you pegang telefon, dia bercakap non-stop. And to me it's okay, because at least they have someone to talk to. And after dia bercakap puas, dia kata okay, now apa saya patut buat? Dia akan nak answer immediately. Apa saya patut buat? So kita akan reflect balik, bantu dia explore sikit-sikit, sebab dia one off je Syarul. Bila one off ni kita ada very limited time, and sometimes it can be longer than 1 hour, but normally we try to stick to 1 hour. So really very important kita strategize, bantu dia yang immediate. So kita akan pastikan dia selamat, dia tidak mencederakan diri atau tidak melakukan apa-apa. Tapi sekiranya kita juga remind, kalau terputus dan kalau dia ada rasa macam ni, dia kena call balik. Dan talian kasih akan buat susulan kepada kes-kes yang berat. Itu yang saya tahu.
Okay, terima kasih Prof. I know Prof, just that sometimes you used to call her by some other name rather than Prof.
Ya je kalau nak panggil, no problem.
Okay, we have to be professional in that sense. Okay, the worrying part is that okay, one is even Talian Kasih, even today, I just try to make the phone call. First, I WhatsApp, you know. I WhatsApp the number Talian Kasih. Sorry, this is not to mengumpat baik, tapi this is to me quite serious. Masa cakap for somebody who call this kind of Talian, chances are, you know, it could be that's the last, you know, the last call before they do anything funny, kan? You know. So bila you call, you say they just oh we are very busy now. It just 2 times answering machine, pop dia tutup. You hang up on me. That's the thing. So when you WhatsApp to them, so basically sekarang bakul you're talking about bakul makanan. You can go to Jabatan Kebajikan. They got 3 options. I can show it to you. I don't wanna. I can forward to you. I mean I can show to them what are basically the response. They're talking about bakul makanan, you know. So this is to me, you know, if people masa tu dah nak dekat tepi jambatan, dia nak call tu, I think they will jump lah. Maksud, kalau kata bakul makanan, I don't need makanan. I mean, you know, you see. So, okay. We try to, if they need help, I mean, if we can, I know even macam befrienders pun, one thing I think I give a thumbs up to Talian Kasih in the sense that dia orang ada WhatsApp punya, apa tu? WhatsApp punya option ataupun chatting, which is the befrienders. What the thing about good pasal befrienders ni, kalau you type suicide, befrienders akan keluar, even the NGO. So that's a good. Tapi dia bagi 24 hours landline. Landline orang kadang tak suka untuk call lah. Especially kalau landline ni you tahu dia akan pergi masuk mesin. So, you tak boleh nak WhatsApp. Some people they like to chatting because they will remain anonymous. Tapi even befrienders pun masa you tengok people call, nak tolong, nak jadi volunteer, there is no answer. Even dalam the chat, I pergi dekat FB pun kata, I want to jump now, I want to commit suicide, stuff like that. There is no answer. You see that? So benda tu ada banyak, you know. So ini I just check from semalam ni, just buka FB. There are the evidence there. It's everywhere. Not kita nak condemn, but if they need help, you know, I think we should look into that, and I think you can train more people, your student and whatnot, you know, to expect this stuff. Just over to you. So what do you think? This is their last resort, you know, their last safety net.
Okay. Yeah. About calling and it is anonymous. Actually, crisis line ni sebenarnya is something yang kalau kita nak buat, kita kena betul-betul be careful kan, kena berhati-hati because we are talking about life of someone. Macam kata tiba call tak jawab, orang kata kau pun the last person I want to turn to pun tak jawab. Dia kata I've turned to many people. Selalunya orang yang nak suicidal ni dia dah turn to many people to get help. Dan kata the last person I turn to pun tak jawab juga. So what else can I do? This is a sign. Orang-orang ni pun pandai juga benda tu. This is a sign that I should end my life. Kan. They will make the decision. Orang macam ni, macam tadi you kata kita ada kalanya suicide ni yang statistik you mention earlier tu. Dulu-dulu kita memang nampak research kata depression tu boleh is another one of the thing yang determinant kepada orang suicidal, but it's not necessarily. Sebab depression, orang depression tak semestinya suicidal, dan orang suicidal mungkin ada yang depression because anyone always can get into depression anytime when we are in a very orang tu prolonged stress ke apa kan, but it's not necessarily. So satu research dah kata tak. Yang kedua orang kata ada red flags. Red flags ni apa? Macam dia ada attempt, dia ada suicidal attempt, suicidal thought. Okay, dia dah fikir, dia dah suicidal plan, dia dah ada plan untuk membunuh diri. Semua ni sign ataupun red flags. Selalunya kita berpegang pada tu, Syahrul. Tapi ini semuanya mungkin crisis line tak dapat pick up. Tapi a good crisis line will be able to make quick risk assessment on the caller. Asking the caller first, when was the first time you try to hurt yourself? How long has it been? When was the last time? How often do you hurt yourself? What kind of things you do to hurt yourself? You know, this kind of question yang nampak betapa yang akan bantu orang yang mengangkat telefon befrienders akan buat assessment ke atas klien. kemudian immediately terus, dia bukan, this is you go right to the right doing business lah, maknanya kan, okay, kita nampak severity of the case. So kalau ini tak ada dalam crisis line, it's not gonna work. Okay, so that's what I can say, because I cannot speak on behalf of other crisis line because I don't know how they manage things. But from my opinion, the way I was trained, it has to be properly done. You make the risk assessment first, and then when you evaluate the situation, you will find out, okay, who's closest to you? Ada siapa yang berada di berdekatan dengan anda? Is there any number that we can call to make sure that you are safe? This is what counsellors normally do. Okay,
So,
kita akan kita ada
Sarika, what you're saying is basically the second or the third step. No, what I mentioned just now is the first step. No, you're not check up. No, basically when you message, they don't even respond. You call the screen message, they hang up on you. So that's it, man. I mean, okay, of course, this is something you cannot solve. This is probably political uncertainty. Probably they don't have budget, the stuff like that. But of course, like you said, the good thing is try to exhaust the people around you first. Where they can help, just try to talk to them. But what we are afraid, those who call ini dah the last kopek. So macam wow.
I think if this is the something that is not going to work, what we can do, okay, social media activists like you can do is do a lot more psychoeducation, okay, because rata-rata poster tulis call befrienders, call talian kasih. I think almost all posters tulis tu. But we have to actually communicate to the public that just in case you don't get to your answers called by these people from talian kasih or befrienders, do not just sit there. Okay, go get help with someone around you, closest to you. Okay, because dia orang yang dalam keadaan ni, dia selalu dia seseorang diri dan so dia alone and dia mungkin dalam keadaan yang dia tak nak jumpa orang. Okay, so we have to actually blastkan psychoeducation dari poster instead of just stating. If you feel like life has no meaning to you, call befrienders ke apa-apa, do positive thing saying that life can be painful ke apa-apa, but you may want to call, sometimes you call someone is not there, but what are you going to do about it? So benda-benda macam ni yang akan the psychoeducation part will tell you that line ni pun tak stabil sebenarnya, because line tu people nak beritahu dia suicidal pada orang yang dia tak nampak. Dia tak akan cakap dengan orang yang nampak, tapi dia sebab orang yang nampak, orang yang dekat dengan dia tidak memahami dia. So it's very important, kalau boleh lah pada saya kan, bagi empowerment pada orang yang nak commit suicide ni to act, to react to how they feel. So bagi dia rasa, what can I do? Things that I can do when I feel suicidal ke macam tu. So focus on that. Sebab macam you kata, you have tried calling, tak ada WhatsApp, tak ada jawapan yang you nak. So you imagine how many people yang do the same thing, macam you kata probably dah committed suicide, kita tak tahu. Because it's anonymous, one more thing. Ini belum kita kata lagi orang yang call dan dapat lepas letak phone dia committed suicide, kita tak tahu. Because they are always anonymous. Okay, so the psychoeducation part tu kena tukar sikit lah, maknanya instead of kita pompang-pompang kata okay, call this number, crisis available, when you experience that, if just in case you don't get this, go get help from someone near. Pada sekarang that is more important, because dia lagi kata orang lagi logik lah, you nak tolong orang, I don't know how, if you sukarelawan talian kasih, you will be wondering about people who calling you, who is like miles away from you and who is having trouble. Okay, so it is sad lah what you pointed out to, memang something need to be improved lah sebenarnya. It's really need to be improved. Kalau boleh kita bantu the talian kasih atau crisis line like this to improve their services, that would be nice, because they need your feedback. Okay,
yeah,
and the
because I just so happened that I listen also to BFM the podcast. I mean, there's one volunteer from Befrienders. They said they only train twice a year, and the course take about 6 months for you to be volunteers. There are many courses. There are people are volunteering to be a volunteer, but there is no takers. There is that's why it's a bit sad. I mean, if you can, volunteer. I mean, I know that not anyone can be a counselor. You kan boleh jadi bad counselor tu melompat. so that is also a critical thing that macam you cakap, you need a bit more psycho education, whatever lah, how to be, the first line, probably to listen. Probably this is basically why we are doing it now, to give a few tips, okay, we just go what are basically from my reading. 80% of those commit suicide, they give some kind of warning before that. The idea is already there. I mean, if there is one suicide, I said probably 3-4 failed attempts or suicide. So probably dekat sini you boleh educate the public what are the signs of this thing, and basically what the public should do and what the public should not do or tell them. So this is basically intertwine everything into this thing.
Okay, it's raining here. I hope I can you hear me clearly?
Fantastic, yep.
Alright, memang ada when we talk about complete suicide, ialah memang ada early warnings lah. Memang when you are helping someone, when I ask earlier on, I cakap about how important it is for us to find out recency, how recent dia try suicidal attempt. Dia ada beza. Suicidal plan, dia plan aja. Okay, suicidal attempt dia buat, dia lakukan. Okay, suicidal ideation dengan ni dia ada suicidal thought or ideation, dia berfikir ataupun dia berfikir that it would be nice if I can end my life because life has no meaning, semua orang tak membantu saya. That is suicidal ideation. So suicidal ideation ni atas sekali lah. Lepas tu plan, dia dah ada plan. I plan to do this and this and this. Jadi dia punya risiko lagi tinggi bila dia ada plan. Saya plan pertama, kalau saya nak mati, saya nak terjun daripada tingkat 3. Kalau tak boleh tingkat 3, saya naik lagi tingkat 10. Kalau tak, saya juga ada plan lain. Kalau saya nak end my life, saya ambil pil ke, ambil benda-benda bahan macam ni lah. Dia ada plan. Bila ada plan, the chances of that also another sign yang kita kena stop. Yang saya cakap tadi, safety plan tadi kan. Kalau orang yang bantu, akan pastikan dia tanya soalan ni supaya dia boleh bantu orang yang suicidal ni supaya stop the behaviour. Okay, suicidal attempt. Dia kata pertama kali saya lakukan last year, dengan saya lakukan, kalau compare dengan I did it last week, recency tu yang lagi awal tu, chances of dia repeat tu lagi tinggi. Jadi dia punya red flags tu lagi banyak lah. Okay, so red flags ni membantu, Syahrul, sangat membantu. Sebabnya kita boleh focus on stopping it or reducing it ataupun try to do safety plan with them. So it's very important to ask this question. You can ask this as a friend pun boleh tanya. You don't have to be a professional. So friends ataupun family members, okay. Another thing that is not really suicidal kind of reflex is when you see someone who's normally sangat talkative ataupun sangat friendly suddenly become quiet. Any change of behavior, okay, any change of behavior would be a good sign that you want to find out what's going on. Tak semestinya dia suicidal, tapi dia anyone who display any change in behavior, chances are they are going through some kind of hard, rough time. Okay, so it's good to find out about that. And when someone is isolating themselves, tak nak jumpa orang, and nowadays you have social media, they put on status. And ada orang dia main-main je kat status ni, tapi I will not take that. I will take every single word in the someone's status seriously. Okay, I want to check on them. If you're a friend or family members who see status of another who seems to be quite ada suicidal punya statement, it's good that you call them. That shows you care. You can just say, okay, I read your status and I'm quite worried and I'm concerned. What's going on? What happened? that kind of question save life actually. So these are some of the signs that is not really in statistics, but it is in reality today. So changes on behavior, like I said just now, is sangat obvious. Among parents, you can see anak you tak keluar bilik, anak you suddenly get anger, suddenly change in behavior, macam dia bukannya seorang yang cepat outburst, suddenly dia become very aggressive. That shows something is going on. It's not necessarily suicidal, but it's worth to explore what's going on in your life. So those are some of the signs lah, Shahrul. If I can think of more, I will tell you more.
Okay, Prof. Kalau ada somebody your hubby tend to be romantic, tiba-tiba tu buan terbiak lah jantan. So he tak rasa that thing is suicidal or
Oh, okay. Kalau dia itu lain, itu change of behavior yang ke arah yang itu bukan terbiak untuk I'm talking about changes yang in a negative way.
It's just joking lah. Mungkin dia nak kahwin lagi gitu.
That one bahaya tu.
Okay, tu buang terbiak.
Family counselling, couple counselling.
Okay. Marriage counselling. So I just so happen I listened to one of the podcasts I came just pagi tadi. They said there are 3 steps. I know 5 steps of. I couldn't because I was walking. So like the first thing is basically the feeling of I think hopelessness, something like that. Probably you check out this idea. Second thing is helplessness. There's nothing much you can do to solve that problem. And rightly said macam sudden abrupt change of behavior. Tiba suddenly orang pemarah tiba-tiba jadi baik apa semua. They put some wheels before, that is basically, and the last is basically this kind of people, the idea is there. It's just that what trigger them to commit that thing lah. I mean, so there are 5 steps. I tried to Google but I cannot find it. I know whether that's the same. Ada 5 words. I mean, hopelessness, helplessness, and then last is trigger, a change of behavior. Abrupt change of behavior, let's say, I don't know, unless it's specifically trigger. Is there anything similar to that?
Hopelessness and helplessness memang sign of orang depression pun ada benda ni. Tapi I think that feelings of helplessness and hopelessness ni can also be experienced by anyone who is in a very difficult situation. Kadang-kadang kita pun ada rasa hopeless, helpless.
Yeah.
Tapi what's important is what you're going to do about it. Like and very often I sekarang ni moving towards this. We always want people to help us. We always try to get people to rescue us, to support us. But most of the time, there are times that when we need them the most, they are not available, and that can be very frustrating. So if we want to help someone, sometimes slowly in the beginning we give them support, kita bagi them motivation, and after some time dia macam dependent on us kan. It doesn't have to be counselor. Sometimes kawan-kawan kita bantu dia akan rasa macam tu. So it is important that also remind them that okay, I can always be your support. Bila you rasa hopeless, you can always call me. But I want to make sure that this feeling of hopelessness, you do something about it. So I want you to take charge of yourself to do something about it. Tanya dia, what do you think you want to do after this? It is hopeless to be in this situation, and sometimes you don't get help from people. Let's find out how we can help ourselves. So benda ni sepatutnya kita pelan-pelan bagi, sebab bila kita cakap orang yang helpless ni Shahrul, semua negatif kat dia. Semua everything is negative, and it's very difficult to yang annoying to them is when we say think positive. Annoying to them. They say it's easy for you to say to think positive when you are not in this negative situation. So jangan kita bantu seseorang, kita jangan cakap okay, kita tak boleh minimize masalah orang. What you can do is to tell them back that this is very difficult for you, and I know this is hard, and I'm not sure how to help you, but I know this is difficult. What do you think you can do? Kita bantu dia fikirkan apa yang dia boleh buat dalam situasi dia begitu. Sebab kalau kita kata stop thinking negatively ke apa, dia akan turn off. Dia tak nak, dia akan rasa macam alah senang lah kau cakap kau tak ada dalam situasi aku. So we want them to feel that we hurt them. So anyone, friends, families, apa yang kita dengar orang macam ni, they are always in the negative mode. What we can do is just acknowledge you are in a negative mood because this is how you feel right now, but let's think of what you can do about your situation now. Okay, so these are the things you can do. If you think you cannot do it on your own, let's get professional help. Itu yang next level sebenarnya yang boleh. Sebenarnya dalam dunia ni, you don't really need counselor kalau you boleh solve your own problem. You don't need a counselor kalau orang keliling you boleh bantu you solve your problem. So that's my view, that kita kena take charge, bantu people to take charge of their situation, how they can make themselves make them feel that regardless apa berlaku around me, I can make sure that I'm okay, I can manage myself in whatever situation. Fine, it is very difficult. Ujian datang dan pergi saling berganti kan. People will say that all the time. But I'm hanging on. Kita bantu dia untuk hang. Kata orang tu cuba untuk terus usaha untuk memikirkan something yang boleh dia buat tadi dulu.
Okay, that's come to a good point that I think you probably need to put things in a to highlight certain things now, because I said to what you see the trend, the warning, the red flag and whatnot, that people have that idea. Second is basically the more important thing lah. If you want to be a counsellor, what are the things that you shouldn't be doing? Macam cakap, be strong. If you go to the I think Befrienders punya Facebook, there are I think a booklet on what you're supposed to be saying and what not supposed to be saying. And one of them is like macam you cakap tadi lah. No, stay strong, you know, and don't try to judge people. Macam, you know, how come you feeling that way? Or the worst thing is, yeah, I mean, they try to basically listen to them. Basically, the idea is don't judge and don't fix the problem as well. Is that true? You're not supposed to fix the problem. You're just supposed to listen.
Okay, listen is one thing, tapi kita kena bagi information. Information, okay, provide them the information what to, where to go, what to do. If you cannot do anything about it, what kind of help they can get. Okay, kadang-kadang bagi bahan bacaan pun bagus juga. You know, in this situation memang kita akan refer them pada anything that will be helpful. You know, but remind them to stay connected. Okay, stay connected with people yang boleh sebenarnya mendengar ni is not easy, Syahrul, to listen, and especially orang sometimes you have to be able to understand, you have to be there when you're listening, because you want to know mode dia macam mana. Adakah dia just nak pouring ataupun dia nak solution from you. Sebab very often orang nak solution. Tapi to be fair, orang yang suicidal ni, dia bukannya sehari dua dia fikir dia suicidal. Okay, the root cause could have been there for you know, quite some time. So and it's not something that you can, okay, let me tell you this is gonna work for you because your suicide is not gonna work that way. So you can remind them that it's gonna take some time, because but I want you to stop. I want to help you to make sure that you are safe. Itu perkataan yang kita selalu akan cakap lah. Sebabnya why you need to be safe, because when you are in a we want to make sure that you do not do anything that's going to hurt you now, that is going to hurt you now. Then ada orang juga dia akan delay kan, dia kata if you have this suicidal plan, can you delay that plan? Ada juga, sebab orang yang dah terlampau nak bunuh diri ni, dia tak kira dah orang cakap apa. So kalau you kata delay, dia akan ambil masa. Let's delay this plan, let's talk about it. So giving the platform for them to talk about what's going on actually. Bukan macam saya kata mungkin pre-existing, isu pun mungkin dah banyak, bukan satu dua. Okay, yang macam you kata family members, family conflict dah ada. Lepas tu pandemic, financial issue pula. Jadi dia dah macam bertimpak-timpak kan, isu dah banyak. And it's not going to be, and remind them, let's talk about it, and it's gonna we're gonna work on this situation, dan dia akan memerlukan kita masa untuk, it's not gonna just one esok you akan rasa, dia akan come and go pun satu juga. Sebab kes yang I pernah handle, budak yang committed suicide tu berlaku setelah setahun, when people thought that he's already okay. he decided to kill himself. So kadang-kadang benda ni boleh datang, dan benda yang datang, dia datang mungkin because it's triggered by something, and the triggers can be anything, and can, you know, that's why orang-orang yang dalam situasi ni dia melukai orang di sekeliling yang be observant. But many cases actually orang tak boleh detect lah, the early signs not working anymore. So it's hard to tell lah Sahrol, sebab itulah KKM, I work with KKM, and I think KKM banyak buat program yang I think we we suggested that it should be psychoeducation ni kena keluar, apa kata orang tu, kena more frequent, helping people to when they are in this situation, what should they do tu. Okay, and then benda ni very sticky lah, susah nak apa ni, tapi like I said, we can delay and save life. Ada orang dia kata dia terkedu juga bila somebody cakap I feel like I'm suicidal lah. So kadang-kadang kita dengar someone confess macam tu kan, kita terkejut, dia nak jawab apa kan. So enough for you to say something must have happened to you, you know. Apa yang berlaku yang menyebabkan you know, something must have happened. Let's talk about what happened. Sebab dia mungkin macam kata dah helpless, hopeless kan. This is the only way yang nampak. Okay. So what we need to process is what happened actually that you make that you come to this decision. This is a big decision. Okay. So
okay. Where are we? Okay. Before there was a time when I wanted to, you know, like my masjid, kalau you can have a short course for any masjid. Some people, they got problem, they will come to masjid, or say your front line for you. At least you can say few things, or refer them to the body, or just, you know. But I know this one is, I know you need to be licensed. Not anyone can be, you know. Nanti dia bagi nasihat yang tak betul, dia boleh jadi, it can be backfired in certain sense lah. I mean, people, that's why they're not trained. So how do you balance between having the proper training? So how short that you can be, I don't know, as a front line or anyone. Tapi macam saya cakap tadi, it's, how to say that, now is more like rakyat kita jaga kita, that kind of thing, that people, you always there, you know, rather than macam tadi, speak politik, you nak call, tak angkat, you know. The professional tak boleh angkat, you WhatsApp dia tak jawab, and you get funny answer. So I'm scared. So if there is anything that we can do as a society that you know, you give us. Now I tak nak memandai yang you nak buat benda ni, you know. It can backfire you. I mean, you need some kind of license. How you balance this thing, you know?
Actually, kalau ustaz ataupun people at the mosque ni, they are always with community engagement orang ni, diorang ni memang kena ada helping skills lah. And helping skills tak semestinya counselors ada. Helping skills, membantu, kemahiran membantu ni. So we don't have to be a counselor to help someone pun, when dia ada beza lah. When like I said, they're professional helpers, okay. So professional helpers selalunya when the issues need more than just one seat lah, macam you need, there are issues and issues need to be worked on. That will be counselling punya role lah. After some time, counselling pun dia tak boleh nak manage when dalam suicidal tu rupanya dia ada lah bipolar lah, ada mental disorder lain. So kita akan refer kepada next level, a psychiatrist. So the role, term of reference tu mesti ada. Let's say you have ustaz in the front, frontliners, these are the people who can make that simple observation macam I cakap tadi lah, the simple observation that and these people may not be ready to share things, okay. So but you notice that this person need help. So what you can do is just to remind, as a friend I can talk to you, as a, you know, community support, we are here to provide you the support you need. financially ke apa ke, kan basic things. Sometimes kan orang yang ada issues later ni, mental health issue ke apa, dia start dengan probably basic needs dia tak fulfill. So the community can help with make sure that the family are okay, you know, the basic things are, you know, after that okay, if still this person is having any emotional issue that need to be worked on or mental health issue, dia kata okay, nampaknya macam I think because dia macam kata okay lah, aku tak rasa, I don't feel like life has any meanings anymore because as a father I'm not working and I feel bad. Katalah, I give you example lah ya. And my children like that, so ada family conflict, so we can refer them sama ada pergi family counselling ke, family you know, counselling yang boleh bantu situation dia. So that ustaz yang yang kata tadi community dekat masjid tu boleh tolong. Okay, since you cakap pasal masjid ni, mungkin satu benda yang I ingatkan lah, bila people in suicidal ni, dia macam agak banyak stigma. Okay, sebab kita tahu dalam Islam, dalam agama lain pun semuanya tidak membenarkan bunuh diri, kan? So dia menjadi stigma kepada agama. So dan ramai pula yang kita pun ada social media yang kata lah ni tak beriman lah apa kan. So we have to make sure that we are not one of them. Yang you cakap judgmental tadi kan. Because kita tahu dalam Islam pun kata you be tested no matter how religious you are, ya. Ilmu agama kita akan diuji kan. So begitu juga dengan dalam keadaan dia suicidal ni, kita patut bantu dia sebab kita akan cepat judge dia tentang dari segi agama. Ada orang buat macam tu dan kita sepatutnya janganlah menjadi orang macam tu sebab dia kata okay, ada orang kata ni kena sembahyang dulu baru kuat iman, tak ada rasa nak bunuh diri. When you say that, you are really not helping at all because we don't know, sometimes you know how hard it is kan, kadang-kadang Allah nak uji kita sampai ke tahap yang mana. So dia kata saya sembahyang, ada yang depressed dan suicidal ni yang saya pernah jumpa, dia kata saya sembahyang, orang suruh saya tahajud, orang suruh saya bangun malam, saya buat apa yang patut, tapi still hidup saya, you know, I'm still struggling with life. So people like this will come to you and tell that how difficult it is, and orang tak tahu betapa susahnya. So we have to give that understanding that you make an effort, okay, to get out of the situation. So itu yang saya selitkan pasal agama tadi lah. Kalau boleh kita jangan selit.
Yeah, okay, good. I thought of asking you that question, but since you already answered soalan pasal agama ni, kita cuba answer. Is that your daughter? No, Talia Azman. No. Is there any place people can seek for professional help? Is it therapy? Is it expensive? How much you have to pay? You know, is that, or kalau expensive? Not everyone has the privilege to, you know, for it. So, what's your take on that?
Okay. It depends on where you are. Okay. If you are in school, your school counselors are there for you. If you are in college or university, there are counselors who are working. Now they are doing counseling online, and these are all free. Okay. I think there are a number of NGOs that offer counseling for free. Just that be careful. Sometimes the online session can make sure that those people who provide help ataupun they are qualified people. They are trained and qualified people to offer the help. That is now during the pandemic. So if you are in HK hospital base now, every hospital has what you can do is you just go get admission, jumpa GP, general physician dulu jumpa, and then they will refer you to counsellors. And most big hospital ada counselor. Even now they have district counsellors at district klinik klinik di daerah ya. Okay. Ada. So you should be around now anywhere. Depends on your situation, professional help in terms of that. Okay. Befrienders, as far as I know, there are volunteers to take calls and they support when you are in that situation. But if you need help more further, go deep with your issue, you need to sit down with a counselor who can meet you maybe more than once, because counselling is not going to work just one off punya session. Dia kena ada bersiri. Sebab kenapa bersiri? Sebab sometimes you have more than just one issues, and that you need to strategize to be able to cope with the situation. The word is coping, Syahrul. Kalau orang yang tak biasa dia kata kenapa nak cope? Because we need to cope. There are things we cannot change. Okay, in life. Some people suicidal because katakanlah dia suicidal because of benda yang dia tak boleh ubah. Mungkin dia kehilangan orang tersayang, ataupun dia tak ada orang nak turn to, ataupun dia dah bercerai ke, ataupun dia ada yang fail exam pun nak suicidal tau sekarang ni, Syahrul. So tak dapat A's ke apa kan. Those are the things you cannot change. So we have to keep that in mind, that there are things we cannot change, but we can actually cope with it. What can find I do not get an A dalam subjek ni, but how do I cope with this situation? I tak boleh masuk UIA katakan, where do I go next if I cannot go to UIA? So dia kena benda-benda macam ni will help. Coping is really helpful. Cumanya coping ada positif dan negatif. Healthy coping, negative coping. Bergaduh dengan isteri katakan, dia boleh cope pergi kebun, tanam sayur, bela ikan kan. Tapi dia boleh juga cope gaduh dengan isteri, dia naik motor dia, dah bawa laju-laju. That is negative coping, unhealthy. So you can choose. You need to choose healthy coping for your mental health.
Okay. Menarik. Sebab coping or managing the problem. Yalah macam you said, itu dari viral lah couple of years. Betul. Semua orang ada problem lah. Kucing ada problem, dolphin ada problem. So just how you manage the problem is more important. As long as you live, I think basically life is about managing problem lah. We come one after another if you are that's strong enough. There are a couple of things I want to ask. Okay, we got not many. No, there is a worrying trend. This one from statistic. The leading cause of death for those aged between 15 and 29 is basically suicide. I think this is global trend all over the world. Of course, 15 to 29.
Okay.
That's basically the age. So it's a bit sad. It's a bit worrying, And of course, I've watched a couple of documentaries as well. Partly, of course, the things that I cannot accept is like pasal pressure exam, that syllabus banyak sangat. Of course, macam you cakap, this is about coping. Sometimes you cannot change. That's basically government. We don't have money. They set for you. It is very, very sad. That's basically the cause of the problem. But apart from that, why this trend among young people, of all the people, the young people, they have so much in store for them, and they have to take this life. Sorry, this is a bit big question. I don't know how you want to answer that.
Alright, macam ni you're talking about 15 to 29, okay? I don't want to simplify things, but I think that 15 to 29, kalau you nampak kan, this is the peak tau, about the peak of our own growth development, manusia punya perkembangan. That's the peak. 15 teenagers kan, this is the moment yang dia transition daripada childhood kepada adulthood. Perasan tak? Especially, let me bagi dua lah. Katakanlah, I'm talking about teenagers pun. Teenagers, dia punya moment tu memang dia transition from childhood to become adulthood, and they are actually in between. Mak kata, okay, kau kena besar kan, act lah like orang besar. Ada pula kata, then dia bila dia nak buat decision, kata no, kau kecil lagi, kau tak boleh buat decision. So these are the things yang teenagers get confused.
Okay.
They have to act like adults, but yet they are not given the opportunity to make decision on their own. Partly because of the way there are things yang we're not talking about parenting, but we are talking about how confused they are, because they want to become adult and their aim is to become adult, and this is natural. So they are struggling with what can I do, what should I do, how can I be adults and be treated like adults, dan ini bukan dari parents kat rumah, family. Ada expectation daripada kawan-kawan pun, dia ada competition with how to their own identity and all that. This is teenagers. Sampai kat tahap 20s, they are young adults. Okay. Mungkin nampak macam maturity will determine whether how you want to end your life ke tidak as decision to any issue any life challenges kan. But sebenarnya these are the apa kata orang tu, the situation yang kalau yang adult, this is the moment dia dalam di college katakan, dalam university, and expectations to score, for example, for those people who have just started working, they have to work for the family. For the first time, they have to earn living katakan. If they are married, they have to start taking the responsibility. And these are all the process. When I say peak tu masa ni lah yang menguji banyak orang dalam keadaan. And there are many people are not ready. So it is good to prepare ourselves and people around us who are going through this stage to be prepared all these stages. So sebenarnya teachers, counselors, parents are preparing them. But are we preparing them enough? Because especially when you are crisis, we are not prepared for crisis. So slowly we have to be able to manage the crisis. And we have to be a little bit flexible. Parents pun janganlah terlampau rigid. Okay, so same thing with maybe when it comes to adulthood, loss of jobs during the pandemic kan. This require adjustment. But I think alhamdulillah lah, sebab our community, we have caring community. Kalau basic needs ni, what we need to know is the resources. Mana nak refer them to. Because insyaAllah the help in terms of physical needs ni, basic needs ni ada. What we need to work on is how they manage the psycho-emotional support tu. Because you bayangkan Syahrul, tiba-tiba tak ada duit, tiba-tiba siapa nak bayar rumah, tak ada duit, loss of income so suddenly. So these are the kind of thing that actually make it more complicated in life.
Okay, thanks. There is this question that I want to ask about agama yang cakap tadi. I mean, of course, Islam tak benarkan suicide. That is one. The first thing that the first thing pula suicide to, at least I think the Christian side also the same lah. We cannot take our own life. That is very clear, and that is very good preventive punya statement in that sense lah. I mean, tapi actually it's bordering to that when you do that thing, people yang dah macam kenapa kau tak sembahyang, memang actually the root cause is much, actually you are judging them, when agama put into that things. And there is sorry to say in Malaysian context, there is this culture that holier than thou. I mean, you tend to judge people, you tend to give hukum, you tend to menghukum lah. Kita menghukum daripada rather than try to listen to people. Of course, put aside, in Islam pun it is very clear, there is no compassion in religion. That God does God's job, basically to judge. Our part is basically we try to listen and try to help where we can help. I mean, that is a different thing. You also that ada agama ni, it can help, but at the same time also can precipitate as a catalyst for that suicide, when people either stigmatization or I don't know, or you judging people in that sense lah. So I find it it's quite prevalent in Malaysian society especially. So what do you think of this agama, especially Islam?
Dalam Islam pun sebenarnya dia tak kata pun whether you are highly religious or not religious at all, you won't be tested. That is one thing. Okay, so ujian tu pada sesiapa saja. Okay, talking about this apa kata orang tu, bila kita cakap pasal agama ni kan, stigmatization ni kan, if I have someone, I will not like terus jump to the religious aspect. Not because I don't believe in my own religion, but because I think I want to get dia punya kepercayaan dulu, that you can tell me anything or everything without me judging you. Tell me, because kita tahu dah benda tu tabu dalam masyarakat kita. Kalau kita tanya semua orang yang ada suicidal attempt, self harm semua ni, almost all of them will say that they will have regrets and they will have guilt feeling. Okay, ini kan dua benda ni sebenarnya is very good kalau kita nak infuse Islamic counselling lah pada orang yang into Islamic counselling. Because you tanya kenapa, adakah dia coping yang baik? Definitely religious coping memang membantu. Okay, and ada banyak research pun kata religious coping help in managing life challenges semua tu. Cumanya macam saya kata tadi, Tapi religious coping ni bukan macam Panadol kan, you makan you boleh solve. It's just something that need to be done consistently. But to tell you the truth, guilt and regrets ada pada orang yang nak mencederakan dia. Dan menyebabkan dia malu nak memberitahu orang sebab dia kata banyak orang ya, self-harm ni ada dua jenis, Sahrol. Self-harm yang pertama dia memang suicidal. Self-harm yang kedua is not suicidal, it's called non-suicidal self-injury. So non-suicidal self-injury ni they do it because they want to cope with life. Many people find it helps them. Okay, maybe we want to judge, oh there are many other coping. Tadi pun Dr. HANIZA kata choose positive coping. But manusia they are different, they are unique. So they say that okay, this is the only way for me to cope. And I've seen people who actually self-harm themselves in order not to kill themselves. So, you know
That's
what I
part
mean?
of the coping mechanism. I mean, they try to.
If I don't harm myself, I will kill myself instead. So I don't want to kill myself. So I harm myself. But it doesn't mean that we don't want to stop them. We want to stop them because we want to help. Because and we want to stop them. We cannot stop them right away. We cannot say, okay, stop hurting yourself. Stop harming yourself. Because these people have no alternative to coping. So it's not fair for us to ask them to stop if we don't provide them the alternative. So when we sit down with these people, we normally discuss what are other alternatives other than hurting yourself. So dalam teknik-teknik antaranya lukis gambar butterfly, butterfly project. Instead of you cut your wrist, you draw butterfly. That will be kata orang tu distract your coping to avoid something that is less harmful to yourself. So benda-benda macam ni ada yang memang nampak lagi dia ni tak ingat tak ada agama ke yang dia nak ini. Some people will ada tendency to say this is not your body lah, you cannot hurt yourself, your body belongs to Allah. It's true, but you don't talk to people who are in that situation because they know it already. Most of the time they know it already. Most of the time they have regrets. Most of the time they have guilt feelings. So we don't want them to make them feel much worse. We want to help them to stop so that they know they will come back to the right track. And later on, we can actually talk about their guilt feeling. I will always ask, okay, I hear regrets and guilt. When can we talk about that? And then dia akan keluar sendiri. Dia kata sebenarnya dalam agama dah kata macam kita tak cakap pun, they will come to that. So powerful helping someone, help them explore their own feelings and they relate to how they feel about it to their own religion. You can ask with other religion, what's the view of this? My agama tak bagi I buat macam. I pernah cakap dengan orang bukan non-Islam, non-Muslim pun. Dia kata, ya dalam agama saya pun tak boleh buat. Okay, let's talk about it. And also we bring positive thing that even in any religion pun, what's past is past. So many people live, you have to
dwell on the past. Yeah.
Yes, you have to help them to be on the present, saying that whatever happened in the past, it's no longer. We have to stick to the present. What is over. Okay, and then kalau dalam Islam kita kata we know we can always bertaubat, but we can actually focus on the present. So many people still stuck in the past because of the traumatic experience. But bringing to the present, how do you feel about it as you think about it? Then when you hurt yourself, akan bantu dia see, okay, this is how I feel now. I wish I had not harm myself, so I don't feel this guilty. Okay, guilty feeling ni sebenarnya something yang you buat, something yang you decide to have, because people will always cari reason to feel guilty about something that has happened. So it is something manageable. We can actually help them to sebab dia akan cari. Dia human nature lah, manusia fitrahnya mencari dia punya rasa guilty dan regrets tu dan dwell on it. So lepas kita process that, insyaAllah they will able to focus on the future. Am I too powerful?
No, that's okay. Just that okay, so speaking about religion, I think it can cut both ways macam you cakap lah. I think the first thing first, yang the better thing, especially yang tak ada masalah, those yang still okay, they put a preventive measure. We cannot take your own life. There is that big statement. No, for whatever reason you cannot take your own life. That's preventing. And second thing, they give you some kind of coping or hope. that Allah is already there. Just ask for it. Just try to. Macam semalam I just bawa ada satu session dengan Ustaz Iqbal, sikit keluhan manusia dan jawapan daripada Allah. Benda tu ada macam that you cannot. No, tapi itu just try to strike the balance between having that hope is very important, macam and you try, but at the same time you must work your way out lah from that situation. Just tapi kalau macam orang Islam ni, kalau you bersabar, dan ini surah Baqarah ayat 155 lah. I mean, kalau you sabar, you be patient, you know that's a test from God. It's basically the rukun iman yang ke-6. Allah will give you, I mean, rahmat and whatnot. I mean, and kalau you mati pun, you die from COVID-19 macam musibah ni, you also get macam pahala orang bersyahadat. So in either way, if you believe in God, you will win. I mean, in that sense lah, it give that positive coping mechanism. And kalau I just tend to share macam cakap, life is a test, macam that is a surah Al-Mulk ayat nombor 2, macam kita allazi khalaqal mauta wal hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala wa huwal azizul ghafur. So basically life is a test untuk you tengok buat yang terbaik, what you can possibly do. Tapi last sekali Allah kata wa huwal azizul ghafur. Allah ni maha pengampun juga. Buatlah apa pun, they will forgive you. Past is past, we move to the future, I mean the present and the future, look ahead. Of course, that is on the positive side. But from on the academic side, I just want to probably towards the end, just for the sake of discussion, academic, or just on the academic discussion, on because I'm not too sure whether, of course, you cannot prove. Of course, you already answered it. Suicide can be prevented, in this current life of we become too materialistic, we become too individualistic. In a liberal society where people no longer believe in a God or the hereafter. I mean, this is basically in the West there. In fact, kalau kat US pun, dia terkenal dengan libertarianism, the individualistic. Jadi punya philosopher cakap, asserts that a person's life belongs only to them. And no other person has the right or to force their own ideals that life must be lived. And Thomas Schaas pun cakap, goes further, arguing that suicide is the most basic right of all. So they're talking about instinct and their right. Their own life is their right. So who are you to tell me? If the moment you tell me what I should do in life, I no longer have that freedom. Even idealism also, they are propagating on that the right to suicide. So what do you think? This is what philosophical, rather than the idea of taking their own life, that is basically their birthright. So what is over? How do you counter to people like this?
I wish they are just as excited or as aggressive about rights to their own life, to their rights to their own self-worth. Self-worth.
Okay.
Kalau dia betul-betul ada I think people have different opinions about things, and people have always because of the rights in humans rights ni, sometimes people are swayed by certain idea that life has, because of the egocentric view that life belongs to me. There are a group of people who probably think that way, and I hope there are people in public in general will actually go do the same kind of promotion about self-worth, about loving yourself more. Because kalau you are a philosopher, you know about existentialists, that you know how you give meanings to your own life, and we can fight to this group of people who think that life belongs to them. Though we can actually counter balik their punya view that that the meaning of life belongs to you, and life is worth living, and how you decide life is worth living, it depends on how you view life, and you have to have the frame of reference about life that is healthy view. You cannot end your life in order to have another kind of life after. Am I too confusing to you? Okay.
Not really. Okay, kalau I mean, if I, for the sake of devil's advocate, I cuba argue from they are, you know, because sometimes they're that considerate and they're selfless in the sense that, you know, if I were to be alive pun, I'm menyusahkan orang. I hope, you know, I'm quite helpless. I don't add anything value to you guys. I just menyusahkan, you know. So rather than I should take my own life rather than making you all miserable in that sense lah. Nobody loves me. Nobody gonna miss me.
Okay, that
so
kind of ada kes tau Syahrul yang mengatakan sebenarnya orang yang katakanlah somebody committed suicide, okay, dia kata dia menyusahkan orang, tapi once there are people yang actually survive, you know, family members who committed suicide ni, their life is much more miserable dengan orang yang committed suicide, and they much more miserable life, the survivor ni, their life are much more miserable because what happened to them when they lost their family members to suicide, yang bunuh diri tu, orang yang tinggal ni dia lagi suffer more. And I've seen people who actually develop hatred to their loved ones because it's good for you, you want to end life, you think this is your decision, you don't know how it feels to be left like this. So every time you think that you tak menyusahkan orang, you are menyusahkan orang, you actually menyusahkan orang. Sebab bila orang dah meninggal, kita tahu orang yang meninggal tu tak tahu apa yang berlaku selepas tu. Okay, of course dalam agama dia cakap macam-macam kan. Tapi orang yang tinggal ni, yang the survivors are actually the one who struggle with the grief and loss due to the loss of their loved ones. And if we can actually, if I have the opportunity to listen to some, memang ada ramai yang cakap macam ni sebenarnya Syahrul, yang kata tak guna saya hidup, saya menyusahkan orang, tak guna ni, kan. All the negative things is about them, and by ending their life, they will make others happy. They thought they will make them happy. So these are always negative views when they are in that situation. So memang kena dispute this irrational belief ni. Kalau dalam counseling kita kata kita dispute, because what is a very perkataan tu the negative it is irrational thoughts that they have. So kita kena bantu dia supaya dia punya set of mind tu fikir that kalau dia betul-betul risau tentang orang keliling dia, this is the last thing yang dia patut fikirkan.
I think you make a lot of point there. Very good point. Yelah, I think it's a bit responsible lah for you. One is you have to cope with that suicide. Ada setengah tu macam I just watch one documentary dari Singapore over there. I mean the husband boleh, they're having a problem dengan business during this pandemic. They know the wife is also struggling. They got the kids and whatnot. And how could you take your own life? You know, I mean, I know they siap bagi take notes to the wife. You know that your wife will be miserable. At least they have to handle business, the kids and everything. Then and losing you at the same time, you cannot. So I'm quite mad at how he thinks that. I mean, I really don't know whether they see the counsellor or not. Tapi ni orang jenis hawkers dekat Singapore.
People memang panggil selfish act dia panggil.
Yeah, I mean, it's, oh man, your wife and family dah teruk. How could they do that? I mean, their relationship was so good before. Their husband is so loving, so funny and stuff like that, and you do that to your family, macam. So I can see your point in that sense lah. I mean that you dengar pun you panas lah macam. But the wife can strong for the kids, for everything. You know that. Okay, I know this one can go on and
Tapi I nak say something lah Syahrul about that. I tak nak lah nanti tahu. Tadi kata jangan judgemental kan. But I want to say that because it's very important, because orang yang ada intention to commit suicide ni, if they are listening, they will have to be aware of the fact that whatever things they thought that will end their misery tu actually will create another misery to others, their loved ones yang tinggal. Kalau dia rasa dia selamatkan keluarga yang dia tinggal, the truth is they create another so if you don't love your if it's about love your life, love your family, ada yang memang ajak bunuh bersama-sama dalam satu keluarga. Pernah dengar kan?
Pernah kan? Itu lagi more irresponsible.
So, these are the thing yang kadang-kadang and you don't know the survivor also have feeling for not being able to help, and these are the thing that probably those people have to understand that, you know, if you feel helpless or hopeless, you imagine your friends and family who may experience the guilt feeling and, you know, the regrets, not able to help you out of the helpless and hopeless situation. So these are the things that need to be, you know. So my point walaupun benda tu self, memang kita dalam keadaan sukar macam tu, kita punya decision pun akan tak, you are not you when you make that kind of decision. You are mentally not stable. If you're so that's very important to bring yourself back to wellness, you know, to bring back, to help work on the issue that you have, so that will bring back your mental health back in place, so that will not be your choice at the end.
Okay, thanks for, you know, for guiding me back to the the right path. Not just that, but you have macam you cakap ni, yeah, that's true, but that's not something that I will no lah marah dia when we come to this face to face. Just make them be able to see what happened if you're gone. No, I'm just want them to know that you make things harder. If he watched the video now, what the wife told them, that the wife has still to pick up and struggle and feed their family even though the business not good. Don't you feel, you know? I know that probably he's not in the best state of mind to think about that thing, but you cannot marah I for not feeling marah. It's just, you know, I have that problem. Okay, what else? I think we you know, I can go on and on this thing even for 2 hours or 3 hours. It's something I want to do, but I think for yeah, one thing that I like just now is at the end of the day, we try to make this world a better place, and that's basically about my talk show, how we can impart certain knowledge, certain inspiration to the society, and especially society can play their role, individual and whatnot. Yeah, probably anything you just want to give your last say, your last word. I think we still have to finish this show. Kan, your last word before we go on, we start off.
I'm coming back to the first thing that I said earlier about everything start with self-care. Okay? Orang selalu cakap self-care at the end. I started earlier and I want to end it with self-care, because you'll be a better person if you take care of yourself. You'll be a better husband, better wife, better if you take care of yourself. You're happy, you are not angry, you'll be a better mother. Again. But how do you do that? You know, you have to ask yourself when you need a break, you take a break. When you something that makes you self-care ni banyak, Google je lah tengok whatever makes you better, help you take a break from your long hours of working. When you are tired, you stop. When you make sure you get proper sleep, proper rest, good food, do a little bit of exercise, you know, have a chat with friends. That really helps, because self-care will actually prevent us from getting burned out, prevent us from any issues that we have. We'll be able to slowly manage, okay, instead of anything that is troublesome to us, any challenges that we have. We need to make sure that we work on it as soon as possible, because prolonged stress can lead to depression. And when it is prolonged, anything that is prolonged, you know, issues that we have, if it is prolonged and you're not doing anything about it, definitely it's not gonna, it can lead to this kind of thing. You know, we want to make sure that we live, take care of our wellness lah. So wellness comes to about ourselves, and other people pun boleh make feel us good about ourselves. Tapi sebenarnya it's important for us to feel good about what we do and how we help others as well.
Alright, terima kasih. Thank you very much, Prof. Assistant Prof. Dr. HANIZA RAIS. But I tend to disagree on that.
Yeah.
That is the last parting word. I think that is the basic minimum. If in ideal society, if everyone taking care of themselves, if everyone taking care of themselves, we don't need to take care of anyone else in this world. I mean, you take care of yourself, it's just like a COVID-19. Kita jaga kita, you help yourself, and actually by getting a vaccine, you also help others in that sense. That's an ideal world, but the world is not so ideal in the sense that those who can help they should so help their their neighbors in that sense. So I know some people like just reach out to people, just lending your ears to listen to them, because I don't think people like Prof Haniza, so they have their own family. If you keep calling the psychiatrist, they also they cannot entertain all your chit chat and whatnot. I don't know whether in terms of ratios, whether we are good into the psychiatrists and the population wise. Are we there? I heard that all over the world we are still short, even the US.
I think it's not enough. Okay.
Yeah. We are losing her.
Banyak-banyak so that when we do a lot of preventive, we have preventive measure, the situation tak akan sampai ke psychiatric level. So while the issue is still small, we need to actually find ways to overcome that issues. Itu je. But again, like I said, macam self-care ni sebenarnya kita protect ourselves supaya kita tak get into something yang akan macam saya katalah, manage ourselves better, macam dia jadi buffering tau, buffer. Tak bermakna kita tak akan ada masalah.
Okay, terima kasih tuan-tuan, terima kasih Assistant Prof Dr. Hanizar, suicide and mental health issues during pandemic and how can we help. So basically, again, first is self-care, help yourself, you're going to help others in that sense. I leave with that. Thank you very much for those watching. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace be upon you. Bye.
Bye. Assalamualaikum.